If you've just started trading or you've been in trading for some time, watch this video to the end as it's going to help you with your trading psychology. Today we're diving into something deeper than charts, deeper than setups, and deeper than anything technical. We're talking about the journey every trader must take to become a profitable trader. Not the journey you see on Instagram or the one you tell people about, but the psychological path from being a beginner to being a fully realized trader. See, trading is not just about the markets. It's about self-awareness. It's about who you become when pressure hits, when doubt rises, when discipline is tested. It's about the battle nobody sees, the bad habits that you are trying to outgrow, and the mental resilience you build through discomfort and repetition. There are 5 chapters every trader must go through, but most don't make it past the 3rd chapter. Not because they're not good enough, but because the journey becomes too much for them. Today we're going to break down those chapters so you can understand where you are and where you're heading, and what it really takes to get to the point where trading feels calm, consistent, and confident. So let's begin. Chapter 1 is what I like to call the beginner's illusion. Every trader starts here. This is the beginning phase where you believe trading is simple and it's just about understanding the technicals so you can make money. You think, all I have to do is follow a setup, take a trade, I win, I make money. You're excited, optimistic, and blinded by the illusion that you think you're gonna get rich quick and success is gonna come fast and guaranteed. Psychologically, this stage is full of overconfidence, impatience, lack of risk awareness, and unrealistic expectations. There's a famous trading book called Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. And in this book, he says, beginners believe they can figure out the market quickly, as if it's a puzzle with a single solution. See, the beginner's mind wants reward without process. And this stage usually ends the moment reality hits, the moment they realize it's not that easy, it's not that simple. And usually after a string of wins becomes a blown account or a blown challenge. The next chapter is the strategy hunter. If that beginner hasn't quit within the first 3 months, he's usually jumping from strategy to strategy, trying to find a method that will work. This can be the longest stage for some people. They start to realize trading is not as simple as they thought. It's not as easy as entering a trade and winning. They watch new videos, they add new indicators, they follow new mentors, they learn new strategies, they join every group, they take signals, they do everything they can to try and make some money and try and get some sense of trading. And so the cycle starts. If this sounds like you, let me guess. You think if you just find the perfect system, that everything is gonna be okay. If you just find the perfect method, the perfect strategy, you'll be able to make money, right? But I'll tell you something for free. This stage, this chapter has nothing to do with the strategy. It's you trying to escape discomfort. You try to escape uncertainty. You try to escape losses. You try to escape accountability and responsibility. Another book called The Mental Game of Trading, written by Jared Tendler. In this book, he says, this is where traders think acquiring more knowledge is making progress. But the thing is, you can't outlearn emotional instability. You can only confront it. You can only try to manage it or control it. Now, if that strategy hunter now gets to the next chapter and he lasts long enough, this is usually after 6 months to a year, he now reaches the 3rd chapter, being the overthinker. And this is where 90% of traders quit. Why? Because it becomes too much for them. They don't quit because they lack skill. It's because they now have to confront their biggest problem, themselves. They finally understand the rules. They've stopped jumping from strategy to strategy. They finally realized there's no golden goose indicator that's going to make them 100% profitable. They're no longer clueless, and they've been around long enough to understand what a good process actually looks like. But unfortunately, they can't execute it properly. They hesitate, they freeze, they get emotional, they revenge trade, they FOMO into trades, and they blow up their accounts. They replay losses in their head and overanalyze every single situation. This is where most traders die and never come back. It's where their belief but their behavior doesn't match. They know what to do, but they just can't do it under pressure. In this chapter, traders are fighting the illusion of control. They want guarantees, they want certainties, they want to be right, and the market offers none. See, in trading, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, and you're gonna miss some. That's part of the game. See, trading is about probabilities, not certainties. And most traders quit here because that realization is too much for them to handle. They're way too emotional, and they realize now they have to grow, and most just don't want to do that. The ones who decide to then go from here move to the next path. Chapter 4, the executor. In this chapter, the identity starts to shift. See, the trader has now realized it's not about being right. They stop thinking about trading and actually start trading, not emotionally or impulsively or out of fear, but following the process. This is where repetition starts working in their favor. They take setups and trades without hesitation. They accept losses without frustration. Their confidence rises not from winning, but from doing the right thing day to day, trade to trade. And this is something that's described in Market Wizards. See, the professional traders in that book didn't get there with one win. No, they got there by trading day in, day out, and repeating the process over and over and over and over again. For days, for months, and for years. See, in chapter 4, your confidence comes through exposure, through building habits, good habits, and repeating those day in and day out. Your emotional responses lessen and fade, and your discipline strengthens. You begin to trust the process because you have the evidence, you have the data, and you've been journaling. And this is the moment before you become successful. The moment before you become the trader that you've been working towards being all those years and months. Then we reach chapter 5, where you become the fully realized trader. This chapter is not about perfectly trading, but perfectly executing. This trader doesn't chase, doesn't FOMO, doesn't revenge trade, doesn't hesitate, and doesn't need reassurance. He follows his plan day in, day out, and he trusts in his plan. He plans the trade and he trades the plan. And they have one unique trait: internal alignment. Their thoughts, their identity, their patterns, their behavior, it all matches. They don't trade for validation or excitement, but they trade for the sake of trading. They trade because the process is who they are now. A fully realized trader sees uncertainty as neutral, sees losses as data, sees wins as normal, and process as law. They don't trade what they think, they trade what they see. They don't fight themselves, and they don't bend to their ego either. They have clarity, execution, and emotional neutrality. Now, this isn't the end. Of course, there's always room to grow, but this trader realizes that he has to keep himself in check at all times, as we are all human beings, and you can lose yourself at any time. This is a journey of staying calm, consistent, and committed, because at chapter 5 is where you're seeing profitability and seeing success. Anybody that you see having success in trading is at this chapter. Now, the reason so many traders struggle is because they expect to go from chapter 1 to chapter 5 in an instant. See, every single chapter, you must grow. In chapter 1, you must grow through your expectations. In chapter 2, you must grow through your discipline. In chapter 3, you must grow through your identity. In chapter 4, you must grow through your consistency. And in chapter 5, you must grow through your emotion neutrality. That's the real journey. Not strategy, not setups, not patterns, but growth. So you must grow first, and the results will follow later. Whatever chapter you are in right now, just understand the journey is going to challenge you. So don't think of it as failing, but think of it as transforming. You're not behind, you just need to grow. And every chapter is going to shape you into the trader you need to be. I'll leave you with this. Mastery in trading is not going to be built by winning, but by growing past the old version of yourself that's standing in your own way. See, it's the trader that makes the money, not the money that makes the trader. So that's today's episode. The 5 chapters in trading. If this video helped you, subscribe, share it with someone you think needs it, and I'll see you in the next episode.